Institute of Technology Development. And this morning the presentation is regarding to what we have done for make smart the rural environment. So let's start. This project is a collaboration activity of several types of entities, and I believe that is the real value of this project. There was us as a research institute, Veneto region, and the municipality of Silea. That means two public authority at the two level, regional and local, and two startup, what you call them, that are good in technology. So we put together politician, researcher, and startupper. The agenda of today is divided in 4 parts. The first one is regarding what is the smart rural development and how Inspire could be useful. The second part, we will see the experience of municipality of Silea to be engaged in this activity. Then we go through the Veneto region SDI portal, and finally we will finalize to the technical example that we have developed. That is more than an example because it's a running, it's a real running project. Better, it's a real running services. So YEST is a research institute, is a no-profit organization, was founded in 2006. The major scope to promote and maintain the contact between the university, means researcher and master, politics people, and business. This to promote a research that bring the research down to the reality and vice versa, make the way that the research could have the problem to solve that are from the real world, and the politics have the problem that the research could be solved. Then the action of YEST is to promote the research and the way to share and collaborate in knowledge. So that means allow people to increase of the knowledge itself. And then on the other side, to promote the relationship with similar associations all around Europe. We have base in Venice, in Italy. And the scenarios where we work is the following. We would like to work in this beautiful world that should be remain the shell of the humanity, because we are born on this vector, that is the health, but we are like that. So we are almost like a dot in the sky. This picture was taken from Mouth and was pointing down to the position and location where is the Earth. So we are almost nothing in the universe. So we need to respect this big ball that is our Earth, and try to live there in a sustainable way. The area of interest of the YEST are 4. The first one is research. Research because we believe that only searching things we will improve the human behavior, and also because we believe that the world is a fine place where we can live and fight for it. So if we could put together the 3 elements, research, politics, and civil society to work together, we should do it that. We are act also in the economy sector, not with the classical sector, not with the linear sector, but or the economy that are the new paradigm in the sky, like circular economy or crowdsourcing economy. This because we believe that we need for the next 50 years develop new behavior in behavior for human behavior. And also the reason is that we have opened another sector related to the society to understand and to promote and to study new paradigm for lifestyle, The lifestyle is the way that we see the society and the way how we act in the society that change the way how we use the resources. So the relation between the person will change completely the impact that we can have on the territory. And finally, of course, the environment. IEST is a member of the Inspire SDI community from the 2009. We were involved in several activities during the development of this directive, and we do not never stop to ask questions. So environment is a very big issue for us. So here is represented just with a small section. Forgive me, but it's so wide that it's complicated to present. So let's think, what does it mean, sustainability? Sustainability is not use more resources that you are available. And let's say this is visible when you take your income and you divide it for arrive to the end of the month. But if we do the same with our health, we know already from the science that we are using more resources that were available, and we are losing, or let's say we have finished the available resources almost in August. So that means that we are using resources that we are not going to use. And that means that we need to change the behavior that we would like to put in place. On the paper that is on the first page of the introduction of this conference is written that Inspire contributes to the environmental action plan and the European interoperability of the digital framework economy. Well, we would like to show you an example of this. Sustainability means a dynamic equilibrium between nature, people, and economy, and these three elements should be balanced in a very precise way to keep the earth working together. And in particular, having a sustainable behavior means not use more resources than was available, but almost respect all the environment, allow people to satisfy their surviving needs, because we cannot be only on the direction of conservation and natural conservation, but we need to allow people to live on the territory and to have enough resources, economic resources and environmental resources to live there. As well, people should take care about their environment and be conscious of their value, because if they are conscious, they can respect and protect the environment. If they do not understand, or if you don't extract the real value for what they live, simply they don't consider the value of their reality. And finally, we need to allow people to get a sufficient income to keep their family on the area, to allow them to do not move, and then we are going to, where we see where they are moving. In fact, consider the forecast for the European Commission. 75% of the people in Europe before the 2020, tomorrow, they are going to move to live to the city. Most of the time, this is not, let's say, a behavior related only because the city are smart and nice, but it's because there is an economical problem on the bottom of the decision. So, second question that the European Commission put on the table was that the city and the urban area are the major driving for innovation. And it is correct. When you have an idea, it's more easy to develop in the city and make them work very fast than in an area where people are not there, that usually are, or that are less populated, let's say. The European Commission has decided to put in place some directive more wide than just Inspire. Inspire is one of that, is one in the technical directive in somehow to allow to put in place and solve some of the problem that was generated by these two considerations. In fact, they have created policy for city, policy for urban area, and policy for urban area. All of these has the word smart in the directive. means smart cities, smart urban area, smart rural area. Then smart rural area means some, let's say, some area that could create again and stay in balance with all the elements of the ecosystem. But what is a rural area? The first things that you need to face when you try to apply a directive is, where do I need to apply this directive? Or I am in this directive, I am part of this directive, do I need to follow this rule? So we have asked both sides, what is a rural area and what is a rural area? And there was several definitions on the table, several discussions regarding how to divide these two things. And this discussion was going on between 2014 and 2015. Finally, the final decision was to take the bordering between one and the other based on the NUTS 3. NUTS 3 is one of the level of the Annex 1 of the INSPIRE directive that divide the territory between local municipality. That means that this division was made by local public administration at the European level. That allowed to classify each municipality as rural or as urban area. And say, go deeply in that, some directives, some, let's say, call for application were related to one specific area. That means I cannot participate at the rural area call for application if I'm a municipality that is classified as urban area, and vice versa. So if I'm a politician, how can I need to classify my municipality? How do I understand where I am? The division was made using the maps that Eurostat and the DG Environment has provided last year. The first one is related to the population, and of course you can see by the color that there is absolutely a different situation in a different country, in a different area. And then they have divided them, as I said, on NUTS, so in area, related with the legal border. In this case, this map is related to the NUTS 2, means the province, the upper level to the local municipality. By behind, there are the NUTS 3, that means the local municipality. So based on this, you can apply for, let's say, money and resources at the 3 level, I mean, a European, national, and regional fund, considering what is, how is classify your territory. And of course, seen from the European Commission, this is absolutely a logical way to proceed. I cannot see any more logic criteria than this one. But again, more than 75% of the territory was not, and I can say fortunately, covered by urban area or city, but is more covered by rural area where there is, let's say, 25% of the population on the world, Europe, so it's absolutely less populated than only the other part. But the area is absolutely more wide. And in some cases, the presence of the human, of the people, is at the limit of the economical margin surviving. This is strange to be said from the Veneto region where I live, because it was considered one of the most active and industrial area. But there is area of all the region that are absolutely near to the economic crisis, because people are starting to moving. I can say this is one of the characteristic landscape that we have on the Alps, on the north of the Veneto region, where is the rural area designed by European Commission. So we are exactly in this type of landscape. And going back to the European Network for the Rural Development, they underline three elements for design what is a rural area. The first one is degree of physical discomfort, so how difficult it could be to live there, for the temperature, for the way to live. I need to walk or I need to cross hill. The second one is the environmental sensibility. How much is sensitive my territory to the fact that we apply some modification? And the third one is the socioeconomical disadvantage. These three elements, define what is the rural area. So if I need to go back and take my, again, area, my territory, you can see, let's see if I'm using the mouse. Yes, this is the Veneto region. Okay, it is classified, half is red, that means it's almost urbanized area. As part is in the green, that means it's absolutely rural area. And if I make a zoom, the example that we are going to present is located exactly here, in the middle of one of the most industrialized area, considering to the area itself. So in that point, there is Treviso. Treviso is one of the head capital of the region. And then we are working exactly in the center. So we are supposed to be absolutely an urbanized area. In fact, if I go down and show the location and what I can see from the satellite image, I can see a pattern that is absolutely related to the urbanized area. This is Treviso, okay? And, And in the green square, there is the municipality that we are going to analyze, that is the municipality of Silea. Again, be close to one of the major cities, the municipality keep the same behavior of the major city. And in fact, if I go deeply to the slide, the pattern of the territory is absolutely characteristic by urbanized area. The red dot line is the municipality border. That is the not three element that divide one municipality to the other. Silea was an ancient location where people were there for a long time. It's a place at altitude of 9 meters above the sea. It is absolutely flat, and it's covered an area of around 18 kilometers square, so it's not so small municipality. It is 3 kilometers far from the provincial capital, Treviso, and is around 30 kilometers from Venice. So it's a distance like less than Barcelona from here, the distance of Barcelona in the world. Is populating around 10,000 inhabitants and has 4 small villages around it. Let's say a historical researcher has defined Silea or development of Silea as have a particular history because has had the development of 4 different little towns or rural community, how we can say. But shall we go deeply? We should decide as a politician if Silea is an urban area or is a rural area to apply the community. So if I'm going and take some picture of the municipality, the location, this is what I can see. And of course, these things is absolutely urban, so no problem for this. But as I say, Silea has a few other small centers. One is Lanzago and the other is Cendon, sorry I say in Italian. Both of them are very old rural community with each own story, which own settled down history. It's like the small city. They have a constitution to be settled down. They have a church. They had a municipal also. They were mentioned in the historical chronic as like Sant'Elena on the sea, that it was considered that it was on the chronic from the beginning of 1000th century. So, shall we move to another place, another area of the same municipality? And as you can see here, the red dot, the red line is always, is always the municipal border. In that case, the pattern of the area, we cannot say that is urban. It is absolutely a pattern that you can recognize in a rural area. In fact, if you go down and measure the territory that is rural really or urban, we can see that more than 2/3 of the municipality of Silea should be considered rural. So, which politics I should to apply? The rural one or the urban one? And in fact, if I go and see from the reality what there is there, this is the pattern, landscape pattern that I can find. You can see vinegar area or absolutely crops fields. But worst, if I go down and to take some statistics from the real statistics from the time, I can find that there is 200 farmer or 200 farms. That I have something like 1,100 cow and something like 57,000 of poultry. The number of people, as I said before, is around 10,000. So we have 5 times poultry than people. And that is not a urban area like maybe Barcelona. It's absolutely another type of environment. In fact, if we go down and see the environment, we can have ancient villas, industrial ruins. This was a factory in the 18th century. Riverside, area where the river is completely natural, area where the river can be used by people for boat or recreation, and of course several type of bird. We have several type of aquatic bird that spend the winter on the river Sile because it's a quiet area and it's an environmental area. So this is the landscape. But let's introduce the political part. And the municipality of Silea is managed by one representative, let's say, that I invited to be enjoying this discussion. That is Dottoressa Cendon, is the assessor of the city of Silea for 2 mandates. That means that she's in charge from 2007, long period to understand what's going on in the municipality, and she managed from the political point of view industry, SMEs, commercial activity, and farm and tourism and local development. That means all could be related to the economical part. She should be here with me this morning, but due to family reason, she cannot come. So I beg your pardon. She will be here not in presence. She will be here virtually, but I know that his soul is here because I speak with her constantly by WhatsApp yesterday night and this morning. So we have decided to interview her remotely. So forgive me about this, but I will ask some question. For example, how you take decision in the town and how much reading and understanding the territory is important for you as a politician. And she'll reply to us remotely. I'm really sorry for this, but...
Our decisions are taken on the basis of the strict relationship with people. In a community of 10,000 inhabitants living and working here in the territory of my municipality, Silea, it is easy to perceive people's needs and priorities. In a medium-sized municipality, as Silea is, a town councillor embodies the principle of subsidiarity and proximity. Decisions, for example, concerning infrastructure to build or youth policies are taken from direct knowledge of living conditions rather than analysis of the territory.
So then we ask another question to the political partner. Do you know the Inspire directive? And which element are you going to take in consideration? So let's see what she replied to us.
I know the directive Inspire, principally for the project we implemented on our territory, in our municipality, Silea, on Wi-Fi. And from this project we learn to appreciate the values that this directive fosters. It deals with the promotion of sustainable development through the construction of a European data network.
When we ask her, do you know, how you've never thought how the choice that was made at the European level may impact on your territory as a politician? So let's see what she has replied to us.
We certainly think that choices of European Commission impact in the development of our territory. Let's think, for example, to the classification of our territory in urban area or rural area. We are considered urban area, and this will affect our possibility of development through the funding policies and programs. For example, the internet connection is a key element for us. During my first mandate in 2003, we have brought the fast internet connection to the so-called rural area, and we changed everyday life and people living and working there.
Then we have asked her, do you know how it is read from the European Commission your territory and how the policy can impact on your territory are defined?
As political representative of a small municipality, we know marginally European policies and how they are processed. We know better the final impact as the possibility to use the EU funds for concrete investments or infrastructures. It is difficult to frame the general strategy, the general scenario, and the analysis from which it derives EU politics.
But now let's speak about the sustainable development. sustainable development in a politics that involve all the 6 year of the European politics, but will be put in place also for the future, for 2050 politics. So let's ask to Rossella. I know that this issue, the sustainable development, is something that you are start as politics to work on. But do you think that this may have some issue or needs in both rural and urban areas?
I think that sustainable development has necessarily to be declined in different politics for urban or rural areas. Every area has its own peculiarities. On the urban area, for example, I have to contain pollution, traffic, building concentration. On the contrary, on a rural area, I have to preserve the environment, have to bring a fast internet connection, or to foster sustainable economy. I think.
Sorry. And what is smart rural development? How much do you think might be important for your local economy? Because smart should be something more in advance than just rural.
About rural smart development, I can tell you something about a farm called Rinociola, whose payoff is taking care of earth, producing high-quality food. They produce a precious oil from hazelnut, rich in organoleptic element that can be used both for cooking or cosmetics. And they are just right here, round the corner, in Sant'Elena. They have a commercial network worldwide, of a worldwide dimension. Thanks to the web and to the internet connection, they can stay in the same place to cultivate the land as their parents and their grandparents did. This thanks to the rural smart development. I think this is the right example to say how important this is for the local economy. People can be everywhere, staying, living, and working in its community without eradication.
And how important for you, local politician, is the fact the family can have the income from the rural area?
It is fundamental that families could get their revenues from smart development. They can live respecting their roots, their tradition, their community, having so a high quality level of life. But at the same time, they can earn money and innovate their commercial network and the possibility to have the world as marketplace.
How important is technology to real or smart development? And I could say if technology was not there, these things could not be possible from yesterday night to this morning. So
technology is the basis of any kind of development, not only for the rural one. As I said before, explaining the case of Rinociola farm, the farm that produces hazelnut oil, they can innovate their production through new technological applications of the method of production. And they have, through a fair, the expo in Milan, and through e-commerce and the web, the use of e-marketing, they have changed their market into the world. So That's the answer.
From technology point of view, let's assume that the lower level of technological needs is the connectivity for each citizen. How important it is for you?
Connection is like a breath today. For work or for your personal life, you can have contacts with everyone, everywhere. You can save time, save money, and get new opportunities. In a word, we can say that the possibility to connect and in which way you can do it affect your life standard. We need it. We need connection.
Why I'm saying all this? Because if you could not face the reality, you could not put the politics in place if you do not understand what is the needs of the lower level. So let's go to the communication that was provided to the European Parliament a few days ago, the 2 of September. And this is the text where they say that in recent time, short food supply chain and local market where farmers sell their product directly to the consumer or with a minimum of intermediate have flourished in the European country, both in rural and urban area. They represent an alternative to the conventional long food chain where small farmers often have a little bargaining power to the consumer, and the consumer cannot trace the food to know the producer or in the local area. On average, 50% of the European farmers sell more than half of their product directly to the consumer. Their advantage include a fair price for farmer, access to the fresh and seasonal producer to consumer, and reduced environment impact and greater social cohesion at the local level. As we see in the beginning, change the behavior of the human people could change economy, sustainability, and impact on the territory. But more, they say, local economy also benefit from such schema, which have a potential to create job. And the current European rural development policy put more emphasis on the short food supply chain and define them precisely for the first time. This assumption means that from here there will be some action on this direction from the European Commission. In the 2015, research was conducted within Agricultural European Innovation Partnership on the possibility to develop those systems in order to improve farmer income. And in several recent resolutions for the European Parliament, we also express its support for short food supply chain and local market as a way to ensure a fair price for producer and reconnect food productivity with the local region. So, the priority for European rural development are the following: to promote and transfer the knowledge and innovation to agriculture, forestry sector, and urban area, enhance the profitability and competitiveness of all of the agriculture to promote innovative technology for smart, sustainable, and management of the forest, encourage the organization of food supply chain, animal welfare, and risk management in agriculture, restoring, presenting, and enhancing ecosystem related to the agricultural forest, encourage the effective use of resources that move toward low CO2 emission and climate-resilient economy in agriculture, food and forest sector, promoting social inclusion, poverty reduction, and economic development in rural area. Somebody is asking in their own mind, what does it mean with this inspire? Let's go down there. Because this is economy, is a word, this is people. This is a map in the city in France from the 17th century. And you will see easily what is urban, and what is rural. And there is no doubt about this. if you go deeply to the picture, and I hope you can see it, yes, there is exactly a double wall that divided the two areas. So it was easy in that case to divide who was the city and who was the rural area. But today, we do not have the wall. We have a digital economy. The rural area can participate in development of the digital economy only if there is a connection system that connects the rural area with the digital economy as well. And now the wall that divides the rural from the urban area is the connectivity system. It's strange to say this sentence in the 2060 in Barcelona, where, let's say, in the conference related to ICT, framework directive, and the way to exchange Europeanly geographical data sets. But my direct experience in the Veneto region say that even if we are one of the more industrial area, half of the company, the small and medium enterprise, do not have a fast connection to internet. If I go down to the rural municipality in my region, and we have proved it directly, most of them has a speed connection only at the municipality. This means the building for the municipality. All the rest of the territory are not connected in a fast way. And it's crazy to say today. This presentation was made up now, not 5 years ago. And it's crazy to think about this today. So, but how we can not allow that the divide by rural and rural could create a new world considering the technology? How we can connect these two type of behave? How we could ensure that the individual citizen could receive directly a benefit? How do we make sure that people can find a direct income? Because if they are in the rural area, they have not enough sustainable money, they cannot stay there. In summary, how to promote the economic development in rural area? Because smart means intelligent. Smart means a new way to think about a problem. And we need to solve the problems that are there. This area, from the connectivity point of view, are as default a market failure system. There is not enough population there to sustain a carrier, means an economical network to bring there the connectivity. Worse, to bring there a high-speed connectivity. Why this? Because market need user. It's simple. Market need the people that use the services. And this area, as we have seen, are underpopulated for definition. The cost of the infrastructure. Some of the area, like Silea, are flat, but others are on the hill or on the mountain, and bringing there the connection is absolutely more complicated and more costly. And then, of course, the low demand formalized for technology by this type of user. They are more involved in their own farm than related to complying with the politician to having connection for doing something. They are not industry, let's say. And again, it seems strange, say in 2060, stuff like this, but internet is a tricky thing. When you have in your mobile phone, it's something that it seems a commodity. Everything is simple. But when it's missing, and when you are not able to connect to the rest of the world, it seems that you don't have a right-hand words. So it's absolutely needed. And again, European Commission promote another directive that was for digital agenda to promote the digital connectivity. And the main issue, the main goal is all European family, rural or urban, should be access to the network that offer a download speed at least of 100 megabits. We need to, in my area, we need to delete 10 in the end. is 0, doesn't matter anything. And, And for Inspire side, the problem was how to map this information into a reusable way. So we are back to Inspire. So the technical project that was developed was that there was put more than 2,050 public hotspots all around, let's say, the region with high-speed connectivity. And of course, this project was put in place with all the problems that a big project like this one could have. That means planning. How do I need to put this hotspot? How do I find the right position? How do I connect with the network? How do I engage the people? Because there was something like 700 municipalities involved. And then, of course, the technical problem, the technical solution. How can I develop in a network like this one? How I can take the right technical solution for implementing these things? How can I select the right configuration of all the tools that are involved? And then that was a nice thing to do it, testing the system, testing from the technical point of view, testing with the user, and finally involving the user, because again, the Wi-Fi is not something that you have. Usually you need to check it for availability. So we need to explain the user how to use the system. And all these that are normal problem when you put in place a networking project like this one. There was some other constraint that was put on the table from the regional provider. We should to create a connection free of charge for the user. So it's going to pay who? No cost for maintaining the services after the project for the local municipality, because with the Stability Pact, our municipality are almost in financial crisis. So they are really, they really pay attention how they spend the money. Localize the hotspot in the public area. And localize the hotspot where not other connections were available, because there is another thing that we do not need to broken, that is the competitiveness law. So we cannot go in the way giving for free services where could be a market to be developed. So how to put in place all these things all together? How to put in place this project? And some practical issue was how to organize at the regional level. You have seen the map before, something like 500 kilometers and 600 kilometers on the other side of the region. How to organize the regional network and decide how localize each hotspot, how to keep note about the cover area for all signal, because we need also to reply to the user if the area that they like is covered or not by the signal. How to keep trace about the working activity, because there were several companies working together to develop this network. And more after this, how to keep trace of all technical needs and maintenance, because this system, after to be put in place, should be maintained in time. And the expectation, the result of the expectation was higher than at the beginning of this project. When user has understand how to use this system, they are starting to make required. So, the first start was using the geoportal that Veneto region has put in place. This is a geoportal, was done last year with all Inspire compliances, and allowed us to search for the services, means search and see if there is any data that we need available, of course free of charge and available for downloaded. Consultation services for geographical visualization and data information related to the data sets and the content of metadata. Each data set has their own metadata compliant to Inspire. The display services, that was what we have seen before. The picture that we have selected was exactly extracted by the GeoPortal. And finally, a download services, because we need to have this information for, let's say, other purposes. So we need to download the geographical information and put them in another system that is a project management system. As you see, there is several level of information regarding almost all the region. Each of them has the metadata. Each of them is standardized, considering, let's say, Annex 1 and Annex 2 of the INSPIRE directive, let's say, are there. Annex 3, a little bit less, but the first two are there. Again, for the project, we need to download the WFS services from the GeoPortal, generating a working environment for management of the project. That means for working, say, in another IT system, geolocalize all hotspots, then extract only the data requests and providing them to the Veneto region. That means that with the WF services, we have downloaded the information, use it as we need it, and then re-extracting again and send back to them in the same format. But INSPIRE directive, and here we are in INSPIRE again, INSPIRE directive has a data model only for telecommunication network. Telecommunication network give the data model description in the deliverable 2.a with services utility. And they design cable inside pipe, and pipe in pipe. That means the network. And sometimes we should use that because apart the hotspot, in some cases we have developed also the network to connect to the measure network for having the signal in the end. But this model do not cover all the needs that we have geographically. So that is not enough, was not enough for us. So we have two choices, or decided to develop a data model for us, or decide to be compliant again to INSPIRE, because we need to give back the data set to the Veneto region in the end, or decide to do another things. So we have taken the data model that were designed and described in the sensor data model. We have considered each hotspot as a single sensor data, even if it's not really a sensor, or it's not a sensor for the environment, but is a sensor in the general definition. And in particular, we have selected the feature for observatory, single point of observation, and multiple results in time. Going down to the Annex 2 description is not so easy. But could be useful to use the decision tree they have created and decided which is the model, the data model that is more compliant to your observation or specific observation. And in fact, we have used this to be aligned here. That is the data schema that was standard presenting for INSPIRE data model. Of course, for our purposes, it was not enough. That means that it was extended and it was increased with the feature that was needed for us. But it was like a pivot that allowed us to work in the technical sector, but also exchange information with the regional Veneto region and give them back. And also keep these under and going for several times in line. So we have extended the sensor INSPIRE data model for geolocalized information that are needed for us, having the measured technical characteristic and provide the user information as well. What does it mean this? Geolocalization, we need to have to give feedback to the Veneto region and also to the local authority. And due to the project constraint, we need to provide a periodical report about number of connection, number of user, broadband user, and several other parameters. All of them should be localized with a specific hotspot. And we need to keep trace where are the infrastructure put in place, because some of them are really, really small. And if you don't know exactly where they are, that means that they're not a tower of GSM networking. They are really small box. And if you don't know exactly where they are, if a technician go out in the time, they simply don't understand where is the broken element. Then, of course, was also having measured technical characteristic, because we should to put in place more than 2,000 server. Thin server means they are a small server, but in any case, they should be managed remotely. We can go up and down the Veneto region to manage them. And we need to know where they are and exactly where we're positioned. And more, we had put in place more than 600 antennas with several broadband bridges. So more than just the position, several elements was needed to be stored in the archive to understand where they are and how we need to use it. User, we have two targets of user for this type of data. One is the local municipality that hosts the infrastructure. Let's say they do not want to have problem. This means that the EU as external partner should have all the technical element that you need. So we need to have the archive also of the local municipality. And then, of course, the final user. We are going to manage more than 100,000 final users. And when they pick up the phone or write a mail on the position, on the problem that they request, we need to know exactly where they are and which hotspot they are connected. And there is then also a need for data exchange. If people are registered in one hotspot should be available also in the other hotspot. So we need to know exactly where people are going to move. And of course, last but not least, the Veneto region that is asking for statistics. So every 2 months, all this traffic should be sent to the Veneto region. As I said before, some user has asking us to increase the system when they have understand how they work. So we are going to provide to maintaining this network and for give more information to the citizen and to the user. So find some app to allow them to have it on the mobile phone information what is the signal, where they can find the signal, and when they can connect freely. And conclusion. We finally arrived to the conclusion, and because conclusion should be like a mini shirt, I will be short, facing, and open to the mystery. So if we are going to conclude, the major things that we have learned was that without the geoportal that was put in place with Veneto region, based on Inspire data model, the process of acquired and send geographical information was absolutely more complex. We now need to design again all geographical data logic. And this has saved us quite a lot of time. More, all the information should not be reconverted up and down, that there was only uploaded and downloaded. This saves a lot of money, both sides. If the SME should put in place, should start for the project to collect geographical information, collect where we can add an hotspot, collect traffic information, there will be absolutely more long project. This project was run for 1 year and is absolutely working and operating, yes. Even if we think about digital agenda, smart development, social inclusion, and sustainability, we could not forget the reality and face it. So again, without this directive, even if it was done at the regional level, the things was absolutely more complicated and costly. And we have reused Inspire data, but let's say we would like to use more and more intensely because we have found that the observatory data model should be very useful and should be extended for, in particular, for collecting the environmental parameters. And just to, because we are the last day, so we can take some conclusion from the discussion of this day. Hugo say that INSPIRE should support the political decision, and we can say that we have done. Mr. Buniski say that we should be aligned with INSPIRE to share information, and I believe that we have done this. Miss Grage say that find good value for money for citizens, and I believe we have done. We have done in both sides, save from the beginning, from the project point of view, but also save money for the citizens. They are going to use this system. Of course, they don't know that INSPIRE is behind because it's too technical for a normal citizen, but we have saved money in any case. And of course, reuse information. That things was done for some other purposes, but we use them. Save money, serve a single citizen, as Mrs. Drake has done, act to develop a digital economy, and I believe that we have already done this, support the smart and rural area, and I believe again that it was done. But again, we are still expecting more from INSPIRE as framework for interoperability to allow to create a Europe and a common map or vision of Europe. This because without having the same framework, we cannot communicate each other. Like me, that I'm speaking in English. English is a framework for the European Commission, for the European community. So, thanks for your attention. That work was done by several people that I'm only going to represent. And this is the different element: Municipality of Sylvia, European Space Geoteam, Global Infotech, and my institute that is IEST. So, I finish, so I'm available for question and answer if there are, and if I'm able to reply. So, finish. Thank you very much. Sorry because the assessor was not there, but let's see. I hope that we have his question again. Yes?
Hi. I'm
Can you say your name?
Yeah, I'm Patrick Hogan. I work with NASA on the Worldwind project. Mm-hmm. And you know, I see it's what's interesting for me is.
Maybe I need to speak here.
I'm sorry?
No, I would like to jump down, but I need to speak here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's interesting for me to see the problem defined at the very local level. I mean, we talk about these big policy issues and data needs and INSPIRE framework and that kind of stuff, but this really brings it home in terms of, you know, where it needs to touch in terms of the extent, and it's really not getting that far. I'm wondering, I mean, there's a lot of this is oriented to INSPIRE, help us, you know, here's what we need, and what I'm looking for is what can we do to help Veneto region actually deliver the solutions that they're asking for. We shouldn't be saying, well, the framework doesn't fit, and so we can't make it work for us the way it is. Let's change the framework, whether it's the fact that they don't include Wi-Fi and they only are in telecommunication standard. Who cares? Let's start finding students, maybe, in the local community, university students, and saying, look, if we are going to take INSPIRE data and do things with it that serve our community, whether it's meteorological data, soil data, whatever it is, so that we can help our community do better, what can we do with that data that helps our local community and shows INSPIRE, hey, look, we're doing this, and here's a solution, and by the way, we're ready to share what we're doing with other communities, rural communities, urban rural communities like us. So my question to you, with all that, apologies, is how can we involve the local community to generate solutions And I'm someone who would be very willing, ready, willing, and able to work with the local community of the Benito region to help them with, in our case, a platform to visualize the data, so to speak.
You see the interview from the political point of view. All the technical part that is behind here is difficult, but was not the most difficult things. The most difficult things was allow the politician people at the local level understand what was let's say, the general purposes. So explain them what is the Inspire, what does it need it, why we need to have something to exchange, data set, why we need a framework, why we need to all that, why we need all that work to do it, okay? Of course, they are not going down to the annex, the level, the data model. That things is not something that they care about, that things. But understand that they should analyze their own territory. And there are available this type of information, and then we need to go up and down, and means we collect information at the local level and send back to the region, and the region has to collect this information and give it back to us. Explain that this mechanism and how important it could be was the most difficult thing to put in place. Because at first you need to convince them that allowed people to use that type of information is useful also for them. In one of the interview, Rossella say, I was the first one that has bring the connection to one of the small rural village. Again, that was the basis where we start to communicate to the fact that we need to have a territory covered by a signal, whatever is the signal, but be covered by a signal means that I need to know where my signal is and where my signal, where I have the connection, where I could have the connection, okay? When she doesn't understand that this work could create some other value for their own territory, there was no problem to make them understand all the technical things. We were also lucky because with this municipality is used to work with students and make the territory analyzed by the student from the university. That means that they are, I can say, some open-minded politician at the local level. The first question that I asked to Rossella was, do you really know how your decision impact on your territory? Do you know your territory? And she replied to me that they usually do not act at the geographical level, they act for the citizen. If I'm a citizen going to the municipality asking for something and asking for some problem, but they do not have, let's say, a geographical vision of their own land. During one of the labs that we have done with them, because this is not the only project that we are going and run with them, we make evident by geography and using as well this type of information how much important is the river that they have on their own territory. Only making them understand the value of the territory, they have followed us in this project. So 2 levels of reply. First, you need to have local politicians that understand what you mean, and that is very, very difficult. Second, you need to create a way to make politician and student on people working together. In that case, the project has, or the direction has, the work that you would like to done have a good direction. And last but not least, was another question that I asked to Rossella. They do not have real idea what the European Commission is done. What does it mean, European directive? How they affect? So we need to have them more involved in this discussion because when they understand that this discussion inspire digital economy or whatever is a real impact on their own territory, they will be open to collaborate with you with any new type of project, because these are really new type of project. Usually, this is not the way how the public authority work. Absolutely, they work for, say, street. They work for school. That means building for the school, not the people inside. So you need to keep a relation with them and make them understand that there is a wider framework where they are in. It's the only way.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to connect with you, and we're going to talk some more. And
of course, it will be a pleasure.
Well, let's do this.
Oh, I will be pleasure. We are working also to having international exchange. So why not? So thank you for listening to me. I hope not boring too much. And good conference. Thanks very much.